To create in my own image and alchemy. This is the sermon from page 87, and it's an excerpt from previous. To move into the higher state, it must adjust eventually. It will find that by intention it will bring to focus everything. In this reality, moving fast as once before it was perceived will end up taking longer to reach, and on the way the likeness will result in many roadblocks as well as traffic to endure along this kind of path and way of thinking. The self is in suspended nothingness, perhaps at point zero rest mass, to better describe its speed within a vacuum. The chakras too were previously discussed. One of the primary essentials of shifting into a crystalline format is that of the ability to have the chakra system amplified to full measure. In that, the restoration of the chakras energy system at full operational strength while still being in a physical sense of reality. Okay, that's the Kundalini igniting experience. Okay, and I'll continue reading. Sound is key in connecting to the resonance that held within the many possibilities of worlds, and from it the self can help transcend them or clear away from them as well. Chanting and toning was discussed before, and to help restore the balance along this process. The distortions had begun well before the sound was discovered to move the heaviest, most dense matter effortlessly, and from this secrecy to abuse its power, it fell from such grace. The ego, the desire body gradually took control of the mental and emotional bodies. The soul self withdrew from the crown chakra and the sacred heart center into the dream world, disconnecting and asleep. When aspects of the storm are able to look at the self, it will become observable to the others in a way, this luminous, almost unreal appearance, and then the physical will accompany along with it. This is why the self cannot for very long periods of time spend with the attempt to integrate these shadows that it sees around it in its world, and must learn to interact with the many sparingly amongst them. The splitting off of worlds created from the carbon element of life play a major role in the metabolic process, while silicone is an element of the machines and serving with its parts as a major component. Now we're going to page 88. These worlds are exactly like the twinning off of self from the older to the newer, and from it the in-between third aspect is that of transhumanistic cyborg, like you were referring. What about the middle, you know? It's starting to break apart and crumble. And, you know, the bridge keepers like me who were in between worlds helping others across and things are no longer going to be there. We no longer can align to that sole purpose and, you know, and earn a living that way, especially as funeral directors. And so how do we earn a living then if we don't give it up and what, do enslavement labor jobs, general labor, and cut or whatever the bridge that's crumbling and go back into the old reality world? So this is what something that I'm kind of struggling with now personally as an old soul. So I'll continue reading. The light of consciousness fills up within each cell, becoming more weightless and stronger with electrons. When attracted to these spinning chakras / electrons, with more electrons than protons now, the cells will start to spin and go into a higher frequencies or dimensions. The magnetic resonance within each cell attracts these electrons until it is full and cannot receive any more electrons. Each blast of light scatters the cells, activates new geometric and mathematical equations, sequences, and codes, triggering any misalignment to become visible for change and realign with particles to come back together and take new form in a different manner sequence than before. Photons carry energy relative to their frequency, wavelength of light. The shorter the wave, the higher the energy, and the lower, the longer the wave it reaches. When photons hit matter, several things can happen, depending on the amount of photon energy and the type of matter it hits. This is the point where the complete cell changes into a crystalline cell, light or even weightless energy. In healthy bodies that have absorbed light, the anomalies are few and brief, as these bodies' crystalline cells adjust more easily to energy fluctuation than can the carbon-based cells of bodies with less light. From a transhumanistic schism, it cannot conceive enough to understand, and from the mind it can perceive that the carbon-based and crystalline are not two comparable things. The silicone existence can only help to encourage the carbon-based body along the way to its next evolution phase. This is where transmutation must take place to transfigure and reconfigure back into place as another, and to interpret in the physical as transformation from the one element into another. The transcendent aspect of it all is in the old cliche, lead to gold. And so I will leave it at that, and I guess we will, let me see now, I think I made notes. So this is the conditional, so I did read it, my own image, and then I would like to just perhaps cut it here.